All right.
What you want?
You're listening to The War Report, a wrestling and relationships podcast with your host, Vince Barry. The War Report is brought to you by TagMeADate.com, where wrestling night is date night. Sign up now, and your first month is free. All right. We are live in public, if you will, on a Tuesday night, baby, for The War Report. I'll hike up in my chair so I'm not slouching on the camera for you. But yes, the War Report podcast brought to you, as always, by TagMeADate.com. I'm your host, the voice of Northeast Wrestling, Vince Barry. And as usual, I have the TagMeADate.com crew with us. Skeleton crew again this week. Had some... Stu is still getting his the train whistle sorted out in his laptop. And then the intern... makes him sound like he's Ryan the intern on The Office. Fired guy. He's
in a timeout.
So it's and we still haven't got Big Heck back.
Temp Ryan.
I see Big Heck on Instagram all the time. I never see him anywhere else.
I did just recently talk to Big Heck, and he is working on getting a new computer, but he's hoping to be back soon. So.
Excellent. I wonder, can you wait a minute? Can you connect to Google Plus chats from your phone?
Ooh.
Like, is there an app if you have a smartphone? Because then maybe he might be able to see. All right, there you go. We can check that out. While Steve's checking that out, Eric, how are things with you, sir?
Good. I missed you guys last week. I missed the show. It was a very entertaining show.
Well, thank you.
Glad to have seen it, and I missed out, man.
Yeah, it was a good discussion. Everybody got hype for for the weekend. And I don't know, it met expectations for some people and not for others, but we'll get into that later.
It was one of those things. I looked at my schedule at work, and I thought I had the day shift, and I was wrong. I had the night shift.
Oh, that sucks. And you can't, have your phone on.
And I had actually gone into work that morning only to look at my schedule and then have to go home.
Leave.
I'm very happy, but I got some more sleep, though, so it was all right.
Did you walk in your uniform, and did everybody look at you funny?
I had a couple of people say, "Are you supposed to be here?" I'm like, "What?"
That's the worst when you do that, and you're like, "Wait, is something wrong?" Yep, something's fucking wrong.
I'm just really early for work. What?
Yes, I did that one day.
I'm extremely diligent.
I actually did that one day because I worked at the mall, and I was shopping in the mall, and they're like, "Hey, you want to pick up a couple hours?" And I'm like, "Sure, my shirt's in the car." Sure enough, just went in. Why not? Steven, how about you?
Doesn't look like there's anything for that, unfortunately.
Damn.
Or not on Apple. I don't
Right.
I don't know about Hector. I don't know what kind of phone he's got, but that's something to look into. Things are good. I can't complain. We're coming off the SummerSlam weekend, so we got a lot to talk about. Tag Me a Date's doing big things. We got a lot of sponsorships and co-promoting going on, and a lot of cool shit on the way. So we're excited. And how about you, sir?
I can't complain. Had a pretty good day so far. Looks to be going. I mean, I have a lot to complain about in terms of wrestling, but not in life. Life is good. Wrestling's bad. That's a general consensus. But
we are going to agree to disagree on some things. I have a feeling.
I'm okay with that. I read a poll. You remember I was talking about Reddit, and they have their group called Squared Circle with 91,000 members. They did a poll about SummerSlam predictions and who you liked and who you didn't like and how you liked the build to this match and that match. And I looked at the numbers, and most of the time, I was in the minority. I disagreed with a lot of, anyway, starting with the whole shebang of even the SummerSlam card. I had disagreed with from the beginning, so it just my discontent continued into the evening.
This was the summer of your discontent.
It kind of was. It's a funny way to look at it, but yeah. It was the SummerSlam of my discontent. There we are.
Read books,
man.
bitch.
I feel really bad. Like I feel like pained when I say a bad pun like that. It was.
I'm proud of my bad puns.
They can be, bad puns can be turned around very easily into a good pun. It just depends. If it's so bad, it's good. Otherwise, if it's just bad, then
I have
you're
a lot
like,
of those.
there you go. What do you want to get? What should we get into first? I mean, do we start with Saturday and work our way forward, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should start with NXT Brooklyn.
NXT.
Our Brooklyn trilogy. And props to Kevin Owens for wrestling 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Yo, that's insane.
Well, now before we get into NXT Brooklyn, how was your very first experience at NXT Live?
Oh, yeah.
It was the shits because I got on a train and then somebody in the train ahead of us got sick and we got stuck on the tracks. So I didn't go.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
So that happened.
Wow.
Anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
We weren't stuck for that
I would have
long.
killed somebody.
But
That is
I was
extremely
pissed. No, trust me, I was pissed. We weren't stuck for that long, but it ruined the timing of it. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things where it fucked the entire schedule up. So it was just like, let's turn back. Watch it. I'll watch it later.
It wasn't a lot.
No, that was we had Upper Deck, but I mean,
But
I'm still
the experience to be there, I mean, that show was...
I heard it was the best. Like from people that I know that were there, was like
It was from
It was great.
start to finish phenomenal. Every step of the way. Even the beginning with Triple H's promo was great. Stephanie had one in the middle introducing the women's. It was great. Bayley, Sasha Banks stole the show.
Yep.
Finn Balor, there was not a bad match on the card. There was not a match that you could consider was a piss break match. Everything was great start to finish, but Sasha Banks and Bayley stole the show. It was phenomenal. It's not very often that you get to see the women showcase the way they were in this show. You got Sasha Banks doing a leapfrog over the ref, somersault to the outside
That was
on Bayley.
fantastic.
You got Bayley giving a reverse Frankensteiner off the top rope to Sasha. There were just so many amazing spots. They told a great story. They wrestled a great match, and the very end I thought was great too. Sasha coming in, showing her respect. All the 4 horsewomen getting in together. Charlotte, I mean, was in tears. So it's cool because you could see they really do give a shit about each other, and it was a nice moment. But the whole card, Finn Balor, Owens was great. I mean, the whole fucking card. It was just really great, and the crowd was great, which just made it that much better. The crowd just blew off the charts.
The Tyler Breeze entrance. Oh my God.
That was great. Tyler Breeze did a great job with Jushin.
Sasha with the Escalade.
With the Escalade, that was
Oh,
awesome.
that was fantastic too.
True boss.
Yeah.
What would have been better though is the driver got out and it was Snoop, and he walked her to the ring.
It was Snoop.
Snoop
with his bodyguard. Snoop with his bodyguard. What's his face? The Funkasaurus.
Oh yeah, Brodus.
Because Brodus used to be his boy, his bodyguard.
And I think that's why they called him his first name Brodus, because that's
Brodus.
Snoop's last name.
Yeah, that's Snoop's last name. Yeah, which is a nice little connection. And then Clay, probably for Cassius Clay. Anyway,
But Liger still look great. Liger's 50 years old. He still look great.
Liger's immortal. No, that's what he is. He's actually the like rebirth of some sort of Japanese god, and he's immortal.
I'm actually surprised he went over, because I thought Breeze was going to go over.
Yeah, I'm hoping that means that there's
care either way, honestly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's great that they didn't do what they did to Sting and job him out in his first ever WWE match. Which tells you how much they think of, what they think of Sting and what they think of Liger, I guess. Let me tell you this: if Liger was facing Triple H at that show, you know who was fucking going over. that was easy. 3 minutes 30 seconds, kick, pedigree, pin. But yeah, no, I like that. I'm kind of hoping that it sets up a thing, and maybe Liger comes back for Breeze, or maybe Liger comes in and says, well, maybe Liger challenges him and he says, "Oh no, you've already beaten me, but you haven't beaten my protege," and bring in some new Japanese guy that they sign and give the
I
rub.
want to see Liger versus
Liger.
Itami.
Right? See, that would be a good one too. I mean, you've probably listen. There's some internet nerd listening to this right now. It's gonna be like, actually, Kenta and something, and they'll tell you exactly what day they wrestled that match. Because I'm sure there's that match somewhere on the internet. But yes, I would like to see.
They haven't done it in WWE though, so
right.
And the debut of Apollo Crews.
That guy.
Great. That guy is. You know, he's
a star.
He is a star, and you know who he reminds me of? He's a combination of Bobby Lashley and the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
That's why they gave him the last name Crews. Because he looks like Terry Crews.
See, I got that then.
And Terry Crews gave his blessing too, because he
Terry Crews on Twitter was like, "Do the name proud," and it's like, all right, well, legit.
The guy is great. So agile and he's just amazing.
They already have the two Old Spice guys together on a commercial. Could you imagine the two Old Spice guys and Apollo Crews doing an Old Spice commercial?
That'd be hilarious.
But no, he's phenomenal. I think it was him that came out as a surprise opponent when he was like not first getting started, but like first started making a name for himself. He came out as a surprise opponent for Low Ki, fucked him up badly. Like he just came in, he headbutted him in the chest, threw him around, hit his fucking shooting star thing, and then pinned him. It was like, and everybody went bullshit in the crowd because Low Ki doesn't get beat like that. So, he's athletic. He's super. He's
a star. He's a star.
I think he's the next one that gets the main roster. As long as they don't have him go ooh. Because they might just throw, like, honestly, wouldn't that be the thing that the WWE would do? Be like, New Day has 3 black guys, and it's like, well, Primetime Players only has 2 black guys. What's going to happen at Survivor Series? Oh, let's get another black guy.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, that's why they tagged
Mark Henry with
them for a couple of weeks.
You know what we call that? That's vintage.
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 But if you look at this show, all the matches had a reason to happen.
Yeah.
It made sense. There was build-up to
the match. Vaudevillains, they bring out Blue Pants. I'm like, that's awesome.
Blue Pants! The fact that that's her wrestling name now,
I'm sorry. Can we rewind for a second? I apologize that I don't know this. Who the fuck is Blue Pants?
Oh, Leva Bates. That's her wrestling, like her indie name is Leva Bates. But what happened was she was on NXT just as like a jobber girl because she's a good hand. Like she's a real good hand. She's a good wrestler, but she wasn't signed to a deal. She would just come in and put other girls over and make them look good. And then Enzo and Cass would bring her out to job to Carmella.
But she
and when they brought her out, too. Right, yeah, she did beat, but they originally just brought her out as like, cannon fodder for Carmella. And when they first brought her out, Enzo goes, "It's a Blue Pants," because he didn't know her name, so he called her Blue Pants, and it just stuck.
That's funny.
Foley puts her over all the time.
And the only reason she wore blue pants is because she usually cosplays, like she usually picks like a video game theme or a movie comic thing. Right. So and that's her most generic outfit, I think. It's the old X-Men cartoon. Remember the old X-Men cartoons with the blue jumpsuit with the yellow thing on the side?
Yeah.
That's what it's based on. But because it doesn't have any logos or anything, it's it's one of her more plain outfits, and it was blue, so they called her Blue Pants.
That's hilarious.
And she got over. They have a T-shirt. You go to WWEshop.com. There's a gray T-shirt with a blue pair of pants on it. That's the whole shirt.
I'll sell anything.
They'll sell a shirt that says $9.99.
But the pop that the Vaudevillains got when they won the titles.
I'll tell you what. I don't like the whole Vaudevillain gimmick. I think it's absolutely.
I love it. I think it's
I fucking hate it. I hate it. But I will tell you this. I saw their entrance for the new game.
I saw that today, yeah.
They did a great job. I mean, the entrance is pretty legit. It's pretty good.
I saw the Stone Cold Stone Cold Jake the Snake, King of the Ring.
I didn't want to watch it because I want to be surprised. How was it though?
Right. It looks. I mean,
It's
it
dead
looks
on.
good. The only thing that's still weird is the talking. Like when the lips kind of move.
Yeah.
It's computers. They can't mimic real speech yet. So
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
They're working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and the funny thing is they have JR and Lawler re-record their commentary for the match. So as Austin and Jake are coming to the ring, and JR's like, Jake the Snake moving a little slow, limping into the ring, her back's hurt, blah, blah, blah. He does the whole deal talking about, like, it's the same dialogue that he said, but he re-recorded it. Then when they cut to Michael Hayes, interviewing Stone Cold. They didn't have Stone Cold re-record it. They take the old audio with the pops and the crackles and the hisses and the audience in the background, and they sync it to the game. So it is the actual audio clip of their conversation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's cool. I'm excited. This game's going to be awesome.
Oh, Austin's podcast coming up in a few weeks with Edge and Christian.
Edge and Christian, that's going to be a good one.
Nice.
Should be entertaining, definitely.
We need to get Edge and Christian.
Edge and Christian that'll be a phenomenal interview. Those guys are two very personable, like likable guys, good personalities, and they've known each other forever, so they're gonna have no end of stories to tell on that podcast. And they've known Austin forever.
Yeah.
You know that Christian was the reason why What was born, right?
Actually, no, I didn't know that.
All right, there's a clip somewhere of Stone Cold explaining this. Stone Cold in real life used to call people and leave voicemails. And if they didn't, he'd be like, why didn't you call me back? What? You taking a shit? What? Drink a soda? What? Why didn't you call me back? Call me back. What? And he would do that shit. And he did it to Christian. And he went on for he went on for a while and did this voicemail. And every said, hey, Christian, why aren't you calling me? What? And he did this, what? And they're like, wait a minute. This could work. And
unfortunately, the What chant has turned into something horrible.
That's hilarious.
And I can't stand it.
The What chant will never...
It's disrespectful and ridiculous.
But it's also like chanting "You suck" at Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle doesn't suck.
Yeah.
But you have to...
It's something fun to say. Just like singing John Cena sucks along with the song.
I think that's great. I love it. I love it. I do.
I heard about it years ago, but it didn't catch on. Like, I've heard crowds do it before, but it hasn't caught on. Like, I heard him years and years ago, like 6-7 years ago, do this, but nobody's embraced it like the recent crowds. So,
Brooklyn sure as hell did.
Roman sleeping. Oh my! I died. I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to say it's his fault because they stuck a relatively new guy in the main event, or into important feuds and stuff.
It's booking and creative.
And, he's still a little green under the gills. It happens, but like, that's just one of those things where it's like, okay, he's down, and he didn't even try and get up and be like, oh, I'm recovering. Look, I'm making my. It was like, no, he got shot.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine over, and he's like, what's Roman doing? I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, Roman's taking a little bit of a breather.
That's funny.
I guess we should get right into it here.
So here's, if I may, because I know I want you to get out with what you got. This is where I'm coming from in terms of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I don't understand the booking order.
Yes, I agree.
That's number one. I don't understand. I know we're in a Divas Revolution and all, but that should not come before the world title. And there were a couple other ones that I just didn't understand. So there's that.
Yeah, it came after the world title.
Right.
Right. More higher up in the card. That's
right. Exactly. So that was and I wasn't happy with a lot of the finishes, although I thought a lot of the matches were good. The finishes, I'm with you on that. I think so. But the biggest, Jon Stewart. So I actually fell off the couch laughing when that shit went down.
See, that's not the reaction you should have.
Heel. But see, here's the thing, though. In terms of story, I kind of got what he was saying.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like when he
fan,
sent a tweet out that night. Not on my watch will he tie the greatest champion of all time, Ric Flair.
It would have been nice if they said that during the show at all.
Well, they did.
Did they say that? That he was not going to, like, they mentioned that, they referenced that tweet?
Well, Jon Stewart himself, when he came out to talk about why he did what he did, and he went into it. He tweeted it the night it happened. Then the next night on Raw, he came out and he explained.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it was. I don't know. It was a swerve for a swerve's sake, I feel like. And listen, don't get me wrong. I think Jon Stewart's a big fan. He's a good celebrity. He's a good ambassador for the brand, all that wonderful stuff.
He took a hard AA last night, though.
Right. Yeah, and again, John Cena's a babyface beating up on a guy that's that much smaller than him. But I just don't agree with him being involved in the finish. Like that.
Right. I get you.
If he got involved in the match, like, let's say that wasn't the finish, like in the middle of the match, he ran out, he turned on John Cena and hit him with the chair and then ran away because he thought he did the job. But then, you know, because it was Jon Stewart hitting him with the chair instead of Seth Rollins, it wasn't as strong, so Cena kicks out, but the chair's still in the ring. So then he hits the pedigree on the chair, and it's not Jon Stewart is the one that changed the title. It just sounds stupid to me. That's like saying, you know, Steve Martin won the Intercontinental Championship. It's like just a bullshit thing. It doesn't make any sense. It's like Walter White having a lightsaber. There are established rules in the universe. Walter White doesn't have a lightsaber. You know what I mean? That's my argument. There are rules within it, and we need to. There's structure, and there's no. I don't know. Let me ask
you this. What in the fuck were they thinking with the finish of the Taker match? Because
that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I was
so entertained. It was such a great match. And then you have Brock Lesnar rise up and he's laughing, and that moment where Undertaker got up and they started laughing. Like, it was just, I thought it was such a great match. And then that whatever happened. I just don't fucking understand why. Who the fuck came up with that one? You want to talk about something that didn't make sense? That didn't make sense.
Why would the timekeeper ring the bell without the ref's consent? When has that ever happened?
And it was only he only rang it once. Like, it was just a ding.
Not only that, the ref and the timekeeper were in the position to see Taker tap out either.
Right. He wasn't anywhere near it. It was. I know what they were trying to do, and they overthought it. They just really overthought it. It was like, honestly, that finish was so bad, I wanted to quit wrestling. I just, like it was so bad. I was so disappointed that this is the goal. Like, you imagine you work really hard and you train with somebody at a school and you pay like $3,000 to train, and then you work on the indies for 10 years, and then you finally make it to NXT, and then you finally make it to the main roster, and then they give you that finish, and it's just like, I worked for 15 years for this. Like, The Undertaker has a 30-year career, and his most recent match happens to be the worst of his career. Not by effort, not by physical fitness or anything like that, just merely by finish. That is the worst
ruin a great match.
And it did, because The Undertaker took some big bumps in that match, and I appreciate that he took those big bumps.
You know?
Yeah, I thought Taker looked pretty damn good.
He looked a hell of a lot better than he did at WrestleMania 30.
Agreed.
Because WrestleMania 30, this is a tale of two matches. WrestleMania 30 was a bad match that had a good finish in theory. Like, I disagree with the streak ever ending, but if it was a good match, like if they had that match last night at WrestleMania 30 and ended it with Brock winning, I would have no problem with it.
Yeah.
The problem was we had a concussed Undertaker stumbling around the ring for 7 minutes and then getting hit with like the world's worst F5 to finish the match at WrestleMania. And now we've got a great match, and they put on a good match, and they shit all over it with the bad finish. So if we took some creative editing, I would love to take those two pay-per-views, edit them together at the point where both matches go to shit, and just take the first half of the SummerSlam match and the last part of the WrestleMania 30 match, and we would be all set.
You built this to be, what it was, and then you destroyed it with the finish. I was so fucking pissed. I mean, it was really, it did ruin the entire match, and it's a shame because it was a great match. And I just don't understand. So, for what? So now we get to see it again in Hell in the Cell? Because that's ultimately what's going to happen.
Because I'll tell you what, it better not be at WrestleMania again. I don't want that.
I still think you're going to see Undertaker Sting at WrestleMania.
Do you know what I'm really worried about? I'm worried about was Sting being the #1 contender or whatever the fuck he's doing. I don't know. First of all, I don't know if this is a title match or not. I'm going to check WWE.com.
I will confirm to you that it is a title match. The title is on the line. I don't understand it. I will say this. Sting looks amazing. He is in incredible shape. He looked great last night. He really did.
He's not in TNA T-shirt shape, yeah.
Right, but he also should not be in line for the title, and he's gonna win.
Why would Triple H make a title match? I just want to think this one out. Triple H doesn't like Sting. Sting came in and got the authority out of power last year at SummerSlam. This was less than a year ago. Then Triple H and his buddies beat the shit out of Sting at WrestleMania. Why would you even have him around anymore? Why would you give him a title match? It doesn't. The whole thing just doesn't make
sense.
That doesn't make sense. The other thing that worries me is somehow there's a screwy finish. Sting wins the title, and motherfucking Sheamus hits a brogue kick and pins Sting.
That's
and then
what
we
I think
get
is gonna happen.
And then we get Sheamus Cena at fucking WrestleMania for his 16th title win. The whole thing just does not sit well with me. Last night, Raw, that's great. There's a bunch of debuts and comebacks and all this shit. But, a 50-year-old guy in his retirement tour shouldn't be in this position right now.
Yeah, I was excited to see Sting. I thought he looked great, but he should not be fighting for the title. And he's going to win because they're, already building it as the title he's never had. So he's going to get it. And
yeah, but there...
I think part of me, there is something cool about him being the world champion, but he shouldn't be. And
it would have been cool if he beat Hogan in 2002. If he came in 2002 when Hogan did, and Hogan had the title, and they.
Yeah, I would much rather see Undertaker Sting than I would, this match with Rollins for the title. But we'll see. We'll see how it starts to play out. I thought Raw was awesome last night. I thought Raw was awesome. The Dudley Boys. I woke my children up. That's how hard I marked out, bro. The fucking Dudley Boys. Do you know how nice it is to be able to say Dudley Boys? And they came out in there. Oh, man, it was awesome. I just very happy. And from what I'm hearing, there's a rumor going around that they signed multi-year deal.
Multi-year? Wow.
Yeah.
Shit. I would have been set with like a multi-match thing. Like a multi-pay-per-view deal.
I heard they're going back on the road.
Yeah, they're going to be doing house shows, pay-per-views, and
I give them credit because those guys are. And again, I think it's one of those things where everybody realizes it's their last run, so they got to get in good shape. Yeah. And they're not just, it's not like TNA where they could come in and collect their paycheck and go home, and it didn't matter what shape they were in.
Leave the sinking ship that is TNA.
How many guys in TNA wrestle in a T-shirt over their singlet?
Right.
That's all you got to know. And then when they come to WWE, how many of those guys are now not wearing a shirt at all?
Right. No, it's true. But it's been 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Wait, 10 years for what?
Since the Dudley Boys have been together in the WWE.
Holy shit! I didn't realize that.
I didn't either until they said it. The
last thing they did was the ECW One Night Stand against Dreamer and Sandman in the main.
Yeah. Man, the
That
most
was June
decorated.
2005.
Because they've won basically every tag team title. They won the NWA titles when they were with TNA. They won the TNA titles when they were with TNA. They won the WWE ones. They won the WCW ones during the fucking invasion, and they had the ECW titles. They had everything.
Did they win the IWGP titles at all?
Yes. Yep. They won them.
They've had every single tag title. Yep. They've had them all.
I don't think they're the junior heavyweight tag champs, but that won't.
No.
Do you remember that? Do you remember when they used to in TNA they wanted to wrestle in the X division, so they had to lose weight?
I do remember that. That was.
Oh my god, that was some ridiculous TNA booking stuff. But, yeah, can just one thing about SummerSlam I wanna make mention of. Stephen Amell made me a fan of his.
I thought he
on
did
Sunday night. He did such a good job for a guy who's not a wrestler. I'm not saying he went out there and put on a Ric Flair Harley Race performance, but I would venture to say he put on the best celebrity wrestling match since Mayweather. The tops for me, and the third one is gonna sound funny. The top two were Stephen Amell and Mayweather. The third is Kevin Federline.
Really?
Do you guys remember Kevin Federline came in, hit an AA on Cena, and pinned him clean?
Yep.
Like 2006.
Actually.
He came in and I think he was wearing white jorts and a white T-shirt, and he looked like total trailer trash. He came out, King Booker. It wasn't completely clean because I think King Booker got interfered, but the finish was he hit the fucking FU on Cena and pinned him, and everybody's just like, okay, this is the opening segment of Raw. Where do we go from here?
That's funny. I vaguely remember that.
But yeah, I agree though. I think Amell did a great job.
I would love to see him come back. I think the door should be open for him to come back.
What I understand, he does his own stunts on Arrow.
Yeah. Oh, I was telling you guys before, and I'll tell the audience here. I started watching Arrow last night, the first 5 episodes, and I really enjoyed it so far. And he does a majority of his stunts, unless it's you can tell when somebody's not doing their own stunts because they kind of cut the camera, they don't show their face, or he's wearing the hood. Most of the shots, he's in them, he's jumping, he's doing parkour stuff. He's very athletic. So.
And the match ended exactly the way I thought it would.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much figured that was, you had to have Amell involved some way, but then you had to have the big Red Arrow finish. Which was I enjoyed it.
I'll tell you
I thought they did a good job.
I wish they would have done that whole idea that you had a couple of weeks ago, Vince, with the red and the green hoods or something like that.
Oh yeah, I honestly thought, but if you notice, Neville usually wears more purpley, like royal purple. He wore more maroon this time, so it was closer to like a Red Arrow. But I would have loved if they had an entrance where they came out in red and green hoods and kind of stood back to back and flipped their hoods up and came out to a big fucking deal. I don't know, man. I would have appreciated the nod to the comics a little bit more.
Oh, how about Seth Rollins looking like a Power Ranger?
Okay, Bayley, Seth Rollins, and the New Day they didn't talk to each other before picking out new outfits, or they all decided they were going to pick the same one because they were winning titles. They're like, oh, look at that, I'm going to win the title. I'm going to get white and gold. He was the most Power Ranger. I'm glad he takes the shirt off now.
I gotta tell you, I still can't stand the whole New Day thing, but
the trombone thing was hysterical.
They were hilarious. They were funny, and Big E's dancing is
all their dancing. It's hysterical.
They want to be basically what they try to do is be on Vine. They want to be one of those little Vine videos. That's all they do. They do this shit just so people can chop their reactions up. Because did you see they did the one? The other day they had one of them held up a backboard and he dunked on some random worker backstage. It was like Big E held up the backboard and then Kofi came in and dunked on him and Xavier Woods was like, oh! It was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. I like the guys individually. I didn't like the way New Day started. These guys are taking, as they say, chicken shit and making chicken salad because they're all very entertaining guys who were given kind of a shitty gimmick, and they made the best out of it because they took what the gimmick was and completely changed it. So it's, props to them for taking a negative and making it into a positive. Because it wasn't boo, we don't like you. It was boo, go away.
Right.
Like Sheamus.
Yeah.
Poor guy can't catch a break. Nobody gives a shit about it.
Sheamus gets on the mic and says, "You all look stupid."
Yeah. Oh.
How about
Scary.
that to open SummerSlam? You open with Sheamus and Orton again?
I think they were teasing a cash-in because that was my immediate thought was
That was the first thing I said. Oh,
Sheamus is
match,
working early. He's
Sheamus
going
is-
to count.
Yep, I said the same thing.
I
think my finish would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I think there are so many. Like, I'm looking at all these matches, and it's just like Sheamus versus Randy Orton didn't need to happen for the 16th time on
No
pay-per-view.
one wants to see that anymore.
Right. The tag team match wasn't awful, but like there were a couple botches. Did you see one of the Matadors?
Yeah, fell off the ring post.
He fell off, and the other guy, like a ninja, just jumps out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He was like, "I'm gonna take his place. Let's do this."
And you know
Which
what?
was a
They
good
did a
recovery.
good job making it look like it wasn't a fuck-up.
Yeah. Well, except for that one moment of, did he die?
shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, everybody had that one pause moment, like, is he dead? And Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev, okay, we get it. There's going to be a mixed tag team match.
I didn't like the double count-out finish at all.
What I thought they were doing was, and I think I was right, every screwy finish was to take that possibility of a finish away from the Undertaker-Brock match so you couldn't guess it.
Yeah.
Because what I said was, oh, look, double countout. That means that Brock and the finish everybody might have assumed was going to happen, Undertaker-Brock to a double countout to set up the rematch, isn't happening. Oh, it's not going to be a DQ, it's not going to be interference. Look at all this stuff that already happened in the other rest of the show.
Right, to like throw people off. Okay,
Right, they're
guess.
doing they work the finishes to try and work. It's a whole other level of trying to work people on the internet. It's fucking stupid. Because here's my problem. Somebody said to Stone Cold on Twitter, "I don't like Seth Rollins. His run is boring. All he does is cheat." Stone Cold sent back, "Heels cheat. That's what they do." Somebody said to JR on Twitter, "JR, the Undertaker low-blowed Brock Lesnar, pulled all this bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Isn't he a heel?" And JR goes, "Well, he's not a heel because this is a personal situation, and it's very personal, so I feel that there's no babyface or heel." So you put up, "Heels cheat, that's what they do," from Stone Cold, and, well, I don't feel he's a heel. Like, it's two matches, and it's two different philosophies. It's like, well, wait a minute. Do heels cheat, or do babyfaces cheat? Or is there no heel or no babyface? What they're doing is they're trying to stay a step ahead of everybody like us who sits here and tries to think of the finishes because they're sick. They don't like people coming up with the finishes and predicting them, so they want to stay a step ahead. But now they're overthinking themselves.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Sorry, there's a bug.
Steve, I want your opinion on the newest Wyatt family member.
Ooh, Braun Strowman.
What a beast that guy is.
He threw Roman Reigns around like a rag doll.
You know who he looks
big
like?
mother.
You know who he looks like? Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Nerds.
Nerds.
Yo,
He's a beast.
He's a
He was
big
a
boy.
rosebud for a while.
Yeah, he was the giant gladiator. He also
He's won many strongman competitions.
yeah, I was just going to say he was a strongman competitor. The other guy who they haven't brought up yet, who I'd love to see them bring up, there's a picture of Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and this other guy who's shorter than Stone. He's in between
The guy
heights.
that looks like Bruno a little bit?
Yes, the guy that looks like Bruno. That's the next guy I want them to bring up.
I saw that picture, yeah. I saw
He has
that.
and he's got huge, like his gimmick is like he's got huge hands. Like, and I guess he probably, because he does this, he might do some kind of claw, but like seriously, the dude's hand is as big as his head. So it's like ridiculous. But I would like to see him brought up because he looks like a throwback wrestler to me, like a Bruno or like just a classic, 1950s, 1960s wrestler. No real, nothing frilly about him. He's not traditionally handsome, so to speak. He's just a big, tough guy that throws people around. And I would just love any of those big guys to have a good match with Samoa Joe. Because I love good big guy versus big guy matches. Because when they can actually do stuff like Warbeard and Joe. Warbeard and Joe are two big guys, 300-pounders, that are so light on their feet, they put on an awesome match.
You know, and for I would 2 like to seconds, I thought it was Warbeard. For like 2 seconds.
I mean, with the mask on, you could think. I like that they did something different. Eric Rowan had the white sheep mask. He has the black sheep mask. They're calling him Sister Abigail's Black Sheep.
That's great.
That's pretty cool. I just, that whole, like, that Undertaker finish just soured me for the whole, like, for like 48 hours on like, I couldn't even, I was at my PlayStation, and I was like, do I watch the WWE Network or do I watch Netflix? And I'm like, fuck this, I gotta watch Netflix. I can't even watch wrestling right now.
Yeah, it really bummed me out. It really did.
So we were talking earlier, and we should just address this really quickly. We're not sure. There's something going on with Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett changed his name. He's still at Wade Barrett on Twitter, but his profile name, when you go to it, says Stu Bennett, which is his real name, and then it says, it lists his IMDb page, and it says performs as Wade Barrett on WWE programming. But his most recent tweet is, happy to be going home or heading home. Couldn't have happened sooner. This is either a departure from him, or he is taking time off to film a new movie, and one of the emojis was a little film camera deal. But it's just weird because nobody else who left to film a movie, like The Miz didn't change his name to Mike Mizanin and only refer to himself as that on Twitter or social media when he went off to film, 12 Rounds or The Marine or whatever the fuck else he was filming. Dean Ambrose didn't change his name to whatever his actual name is, and I'm sure Alexis is going to text me and correct that in about 30 seconds. But whatever, he didn't go by his real name. So it's a weird series of events, and I'm on I think it's probably just a thing because they wrote him off. But initially when I read it, I was like, shit, he fucking quit. He's done. And I really like Wade Barrett. I think Wade Barrett should have been a main eventer like 2010, 2011. And instead he got literally buried by John Cena under a pile of chairs, and there went his entire main event push.
Yeah, that's true.
You remember John Cena pulled that thing and
yeah.
It was like he got slimed on Nickelodeon, but with chairs.
Back to the beginning, Nexus should have went over at SummerSlam that year.
Well, that was awesome.
Edge and Jericho told Cena that night later, what's wrong with you? Nexus should have went over, and then later on, Cena, I think a year or two later, said, "Yeah, I think in hindsight you're right."
He admitted he was like, "Yeah, you're right." But nice job later. The problem that I have is that he does stuff like that, which means that Nikki Bella, does stuff like that.
Well,
and
there was a report. I don't know. Did you and I talk about this, or it was with somebody else? But there was actually a report out that the original plan for Charlotte was to come in and immediately beat and take the title from Nikki.
Yeah.
But John
Cena put the kibosh on it.
Right. Cena jumped in and went Vince, I guess, and was like, hey, I think it would be better if Nikki held it for a little bit longer, and that's what they decided to do.
Yeah. I am so upset that first of all, I'm upset that any of these girls have to be anywhere near a Bella in a wrestling ring, because they're the pits, and it's just
that's
so
why
disheartening.
The crowd did the wave last night.
Yeah, the crowd didn't like it because
it's not because of Charlotte.
These girls,
Sasha,
right?
All those people.
Those girls can't. Those girls are good, but those other girls are so bad that they can't carry them to a good match. If somebody's decent, you can carry them to a good match. If somebody's the shits, you can't carry them to a good match. That's the thing with Brie especially. Okay, let's put it Brie has 0 wrestling ability and Nikki has 5%, and I'm being fucking generous. But you can't have a good match with that. They're athletic, they're in shape, they know how to do things that are athletic. None of it looks like wrestling.
And we need more. The booking is bad. We need more one-on-one match. Enough of this fucking tag team bullshit. I'm tired of it.
I would be so okay with Bayley coming up to the main roster and them doing the 4 horsewomen thing, and then one of them being Ric Flair. Charlotte being the Ric Flair. Because the 4 horsemen didn't always work together. They were
Right.
associated, but it wasn't every single match.
Right.
So you could have like Flair wrestling, and then Tully would wrestle, and then there'd be a tag team match or whatever, and you could have different combinations. But now they're just beating this whole, there are 3 of them, so let's put 3 of them in everything kind of deal.
I agree.
And I
That's too much.
And honestly, I think if you got rid of, I figured it out. This is the worst thing I could have possibly said last night, or at the pay-per-view. So if Sasha's beautiful, or no, what is it? What's their initials? Bad is what? Beautiful and dangerous?
Yeah.
So Sasha's beautiful, Tamina's dangerous in the ring, which leaves Naomi as and.
The A should stand for ass then.
There you go. Like, you're just like, there are 9 girls in a feud, all because Nikki can't drop the title until she breaks AJ's record.
Well, at least we're only a week away.
When has Nikki defended it last? It was a while ago, right?
You know what? Somebody put up stats that she's actually defended it just as much as AJ in her last extended run, but it's just they're so far between, and the matches are of such poor quality that nobody remembers them.
It's true.
Okay, I'll look it up. I'm gonna go to to Cage Fight or Pro Fight or something. Nikki Bella, Pro Fight DB. So I'm gonna look up her win-loss record and all that, and we're gonna see when the last time she had a title defense was. Match type, match title. Okay, the last time that she had a title match in general was July 12th at a house show for the Divas Championship in a 3-way match.
But on pay-per-view...
But on a pay-per-view...
I think it was...
Beast in the East. Well, did they show that?
It was shown on the network.
Okay, so that was on the network. And then before that was Money in the Bank. That was the last time that she defended it. Which was in goddamn June.
Wow.
2.5 months. 2.5 months. Yeah. Anyway, that's the problem. I put this up on Facebook earlier. The problem with the Divas division is the Bellas. The problem with having a revolution is you have to have a dictator to topple. The dictator to topple is the fucking Bella Twins, and they're not letting anybody topple them. That's the whole idea of a revolution, is that you have to take down the leadership and start anew and build fresh. And they're not... Those girls need to be Musa. Oh, I'm getting...
according to the numbers on the amount of days that she's held the belt, the record is going to be broken 2 days after Night of Champions.
Right.
So even if she loses the title on Raw the night after Night of Champions, she still won't beat the record. She'll tie it.
That would be... I would love that, but I have a feeling they're going to do it on, like, fucking SmackDown or something, just so they can say that she had, like, a, 1 year and 5-day title reign instead.
But again, like I said a couple weeks ago, it's the Divas title. It's not the women's title. I personally, I don't care what WWE thinks. I don't give a shit. It's a fucking butterfly they're fighting over.
Right, it's meaningless. It is, as Alundra Blaze said, bring back the real, undefeated WWF Women's Champion and have her drop the belt to somebody.
Well, let's go back to Stone Cold's podcast with Paige. Paige kind of subtly said maybe they should bring back the women's title instead.
Yeah.
Like she quietly said it, but she said it.
Right, she said it like that, and then in an interview I saw with Awesome Kong once, she just flat out said it. She said, if I go back to the WWE, the first thing I'm saying is get rid of that fucking butterfly belt. I was like, I love you! I love Awesome Kong. She just flat out said it. She's like, that belt's gotta go.
That's hilarious.
You just saw Kong versus Lady Tapa recently at on Impact.
Lady Tapa, like, they have... so many... They have just as many women's wrestlers as they do men's wrestlers in TNA, don't they? They've got a lot of girls on that roster.
They do.
Most of them are really good. I like Jessica Havoc. I like that look, that whole... Like, she just looks fucking mean.
I want to try to get a picture with her at WrestleCade, because she's going to be there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys are going to be doing that WrestleCade thing. Awesome. if it was a weekend that I could go and it wasn't, what is it, Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, here's the thing.
That would be
It's
a hard commute
Thanksgiving
for me to make from
weekend in
Connecticut.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I live an hour and a half away. That's why I'm going, and I can
Right.
represent.
Yeah,
And
you
I
can
don't have to worry
represent.
about the holidays, and it's, you know.
Right. No, see, that's good. I wish it was
But
closer because every
I'm
year I
happy to
hear
be
so much shit about it.
Representing Tag Me a Date that night. Very excited about it.
Excellent. Are you guys are gonna have a computer there or something for registrations?
I'll have mine. Yeah, I'll have my laptop there.
Good. That'll be good to set up like a little station where people can sign up.
Tom Pritchard's going to be there too.
Dr.
Yeah.
Tom
Our
And
good
the
friend, Tom. Yeah.
And Bill
and
Apter.
Stroh, that's right. Bill Apter. All right, just I'm still steaming about this goddamn Undertaker finish. I need to Kevin Dunn, you bucktooth Bucky Beaver motherfucker, in the words of Jim Cornette.
Did you see that Cornette and Paul Bearer video talking about Kevin Dunn?
Oh,
It was
yes.
hilarious.
If you guys haven't had a chance to watch that whole thing yet, it's like a face-off. I think it was sold by RF Video. I forget who it was done by, but it was really good. It was Percy Pringle and Cornette. And then they did another good one, which was, I think it was Heenan and Pringle. And that was another one that was really, really good. And that was right before Bobby Heenan had that surgery, so he was still, like, he was slurring his words a little bit. He was a little hard to understand, but it was good. It was nice to see himself. Like,
Yeah.
I can go back and watch that video and be like, this is Bobby Heenan I remember. And I met Bobby Heenan a couple years ago, and it's so sad. He is in such good spirits, and he's such a good sport about it, and he hasn't lost that spark or that excitement that he's had about wrestling. He's a lovely, lovely human being. I just hate that that's happened to him. He can barely talk.
He was so
He's
good.
confined to a wheelchair, and his wife is a saint. His wife is there every event he goes to. She is there with him.
He's coming to WrestleK too. I honestly can't bring myself to see him. I can't see him. You know what I mean?
I had to. I went up because I had never met him before, man, and I had to say thank you for the memories and all that, and I had to get that out because, like with Percy Pringle or Paul Bearer, any of those guys, you don't know how long you've got.
Yeah.
Fucking Ultimate Warrior. I worked one show with the Ultimate Warrior, and I'm like, I'm sure he'll be around again for Northeast Wrestling. Well, no, because he's dead. Like, it's just such weird stuff that it's such a strange business to think that, we're at a point now where all of our idols are dying, and it's getting sick and getting old, and it's sad. Like, even Undertaker, like, when you looked at him halfway through that match, you're like, that's a 50-year-old guy with a bad hip and bad knees and bad everything else, and you're just like, Jesus Christ. So
he still did old school off the top rope too.
he actually hit because I don't think he hit old school during his WrestleMania 30 match.
No,
They
I don't
teased
think
it
so.
and he knocked him off, and that bugged me because if you're gonna put somebody over, get all your shit in. That's just the wrestling rule. If you're gonna do the job, you get your shit in. That would have been the one time you would have seen the Undertaker try a shooting star press. No, that would have been a bad finish. We're getting towards the top of the hour here. Is there anything sticking out that we might not have touched on?
I read something interesting today. It was an interview with Pat Buck from PWS.
Yeah.
And apparently they just had a real bad falling out with Sabu.
Yeah, I read that too.
Oh, so what is going on with that?
So apparently Sabu's done many shows with them, and he's at times been difficult. And Pat Buck has said that he will never, ever do business with him again, and he made this public so that other promoters know about it. But he, his credit card was charged $250 a day extra because he was smoking weed in the hotel room. They had a dog, and apparently there was shit all over the sheets, the towels, the walls, and blood. Blood and syringes for drug use. So, yeah.
Yo, I hope they didn't fuck that dog.
Oh, really?
because did you read the thing that struck me that was interesting was that he said Pat Buck mentioned Sabu has a new manager that's Melissa Coates. And Melissa Coates used to be a worker back in the day. I mean, she still works, but I mean, she used to be.
That's who's with him at Northeast Wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean at
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, yeah, wrestling thing.
That's who that lady
New England Fan Fest. Yeah, and she was dressed like I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Melissa Coates from back in the day. Like, I think she worked like WCW or something. She was never really like super duper popular, but Tylene Buck. No, that's not Tylene Buck. That's Melissa Coates. Tylene Buck was Asia, I think. Yeah, he was with Scott Steiner. She was with Scott Steiner rather. But Melissa Coates, the way that Pat Buck said it in this article was like, it seems like Sabu has some kind of like dominance over her. Like she's very obedient to him. So it's almost like a weird dominant submissive relationship. Like Pat Buck was trying to talk to Melissa. And Sabu was like, "Fuck that guy, we gotta go," and she like just turned around and followed him. So, I don't know. That leads me to believe that there's something stranger going on in that relationship than I'd like to imagine. Because God forbid I'd want to picture Sabu and a dog and Melissa Coates in the same hotel room. It just sounds like the worst porno ever.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
I mean, syringes, drug use, like it's a shame.
The whole thing is just bad news, unfortunately.
Yeah. So.
And you wish the guy well because he's been through this before with drugs. I don't know if he's ever been at a point where he's been completely clean. To be honest, I don't know him that well, but I mean, it just seems like every couple of years you hear a problem with Sabu. Sabu did this. Sabu did that. At the first Extreme Reunion show or whatever it was. That Shane Douglas put on in Philly. I went to that very first one, and Sabu was supposed to be in the main event, and he overdosed and almost died. So he couldn't be in the main event, and they had to change the whole thing around. It was complete fuckfest of a finish. Like, it was they had to switch the matchup, and then it was like then they had to change the finish, and there were a bunch of run-ins, and people came. The finish was Todd Gordon coming in a ski mask and hitting somebody. Come on, man.
What did he OD on? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't know. It might have been painkillers. Because I remember around that time Sabu worked a show for us, and he was pissed because it was a 4-way elimination tables match. I was ring announcing, so I'm scared shitless, legit. 4-way elimination tables match. He's supposed to go over. There are only 3 tables under the ring. Well, there are 4 corners to the ring, so he checked all 3 sides before, like. Right at the end of the match, it was down to him and one other guy. So the other 2 tables are broken. He checked every other side except for the one side where the table was. Got so frustrated, he picked up and threw the ring bell. He threw it into the crowd. I had to catch it, and I almost broke my finger. And then he finally found the table, put the guy through the table, and won the match. And he just went backstage and just, like, he was just not in a good headspace. Let me just say that I don't want to slander or libel anybody, but it would appear to me that his actions were indicative of somebody who was under the influence of an illegal or narcotic substance.
Well, I guess he didn't. At least he didn't throw car door shrapnel.
Yes. Oh my God, dude! Anytime that those ECW guys come out and I'm ring announcing, I'm just glad I don't fucking die. I mean, not like Stevie Richards. I mean, Stevie would kick me and it would hurt, but like, you know, Sabu or Balls or any of those guys, they would legit just kill you. Terry Funk almost took my head off with a chair once. It scared me shitless.
That's hilarious.
It was him and Lawler in a match, and I was trying to get out of the way. Oh, he threw a chair at me. He threw a chair at me and caught me in the leg once. 70-year-old Terry Funk throwing chairs at me.
That's funny.
Oh man! All right. Well, we've hit the 8 o'clock hour. This is a nice little show. I got to get some things off my chest, which is great because Kevin Dunn is a big Bucky Beaver faced fucking jerk. Can't get it. They fucked up. Okay. All right. Okay. One more time. Stephen Amell did a kip up, and then came and kicked Cody, and they didn't catch it on camera. They had to show it on the replay. How bad? Like, you knew it was coming. Everybody knew it was coming because Cody knocked Stephen Amell on his back and then walked to the other turnbuckle towards his partner. That's the kip-up signal for everybody in wrestling. That's the international symbol for this guy's going to do a kip-up, and they missed it. And then they missed the camera angle at the end. So Kevin Dunn, get your shit together, or fire that camera guy. I don't know which one. All right, go ahead. Anybody have any last final thoughts? We'll start with Eric.
I was watching Adam and Sam's recap of the couple of events that we had in the last few days, and Adam described it as an amazing appetizer in NXT Brooklyn, an okay dinner, and a great dessert in Raw.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. Like, SummerSlam was fine, but it kind of fell a little flat due to the ridiculous finishes. But I did like a lot of what happened on Raw last night. And NXT TakeOver was my favorite, and I think Bayley Sasha stole the entire 3 nights, not just TakeOver.
Yeah. I mean, those girls, no doubt on my mind, those girls are tops and will be, continue to be towards the top of the card.
But again, for the Divas, you need one-on-one matches. Enough with this team crap. Have Nikki.
And you have to rotate in and out.
I thought for sure they were gonna, because Team PCB. I hate saying that, but because they won at SummerSlam, I thought they were gonna have like maybe a triple threat between those 3, and the winner would face Nikki at Night of Champions for the title.
Right, or something, or the fact
that they still do that, but
Yeah. Well, the thing that pisses me off is that Brie had to take the pin. Nobody, they're not pinning the champion. They're pinning Brie.
Right.
Nikki got pinned on like Raw and stuff, but he's not at the pay-per-views.
Gotta make Nikki look strong, brother. Steve, how about you?
No, just a special shout out to Steel Chair Magazine in the UK.
Yeah.
They did a full page ad, Tag Me a Date. It looks great. RVD's on the cover. And you can check that out on any of our social media. Also, Immortal Seats. We're doing a little sponsorship with them, so we appreciate them. And TagMeADate.com, first month's free. We got a lot more coming, so stay tuned.
Excellent. And I don't think I have anything in particular to plug right now. One comment outside of the world of pro wrestling that I just want to touch on, I think was really poorly done, is Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta, and the UFC decided that Holly Holm was going to challenge Ronda Rousey instead of Misha, and did not give Misha Tate the courtesy of a phone call ahead of the announcement. They announced it on the East Coast, and Misha lives on the West Coast, so they announced the match before she was even... They announced that Holly Holm was taking her place before she even woke up in the fucking morning, which is disrespectful. Bullshit. So, and her coach was freaking... And the worst part is, here's the worst part. Dana White, after Ronda's fight, was on a post-fight conference interview, or post-fight interview, and said, Misha has this fight. It's going to be in December, and it's going to be in Dallas Stadium. And it's going to be on the same card as McGregor-Aldo. None of that was true, because then the fight changed to Holly Holm versus Ronda, and it's in January, and it's somewhere fucking else. That is such a carny indie wrestling promoter card subject to change bait and switch thing to do. I don't like it. Aside from the fact that Holly Holm is going to get her ass handed to her, and I don't want Ronda to lose, but I don't want her to go out there and fight the Brooklyn Brawler in the main event. You know what I mean?
Right.
The girl's a good striker. She's a good boxer, Holly Holm. She's not the best boxer in the world. She's only ranked number 9 in the division, and she's only had like 2 fights in the UFC. Why is she getting a title shot? At least give it to Amanda Nunes or somebody, fucking anybody. Give it back to Misha. I'll see the 3rd Misha Tate fight. Misha's the only one that ever made any progress around it anyway. Could be a good fight. I just don't agree with the way that they did that. I think it was disrespectful to Misha, and at the same time is just dangerous for Holly Holm, because 3 fights in, she gets her head kicked in by Ronda, or her arm broken or something, and she's done. That's the equivalent of pushing Roman Reigns too soon. You're pushing Holly Holm too soon. She's got to get a couple more wins. That's my beef. Dana White, come on, buddy. Like he's done so much to gain negative perception with people. People on Twitter will be like, "Oh man, I paid $60 for that pay-per-view, and Ronda won in a minute. WWE's only $9.99 a month," and he's like, "Yeah, because that shit's fake," and then everybody gets on top of him. He creates such bad will for himself on Twitter. He just gets into fights with people, and it's.
I want to just add something here real quick. People like to put down wrestling a lot,
Yeah.
And here's the thing: for as real as boxing and MMA are, both have taken a lot of aspects from pro wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
Muhammad Ali went on record saying that he's some of his stuff was based on Gorgeous George stuff.
Yeah.
His heavily influenced by guys like Gorgeous George and that.
Even Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen does his post-fight interviews, and he does pro wrestling interviews. He just takes pieces from Superstar Billy Graham and this one and that one.
Yeah, they take all the showmanship from wrestling and add it, which is great. But
because they started doing and then they started doing entrance music and all that stuff. Like all the stuff that they're doing is stuff that the WWE did first, and they're just remixing it a little. Everything's a copy of a copy of a copy. What can I say? I think that might be a good place to leave things. But this has been the War Report by TagMeADate.com. Remember, TagMeADate.com is your #1 site, the only site for wrestling fans who want to find their match. Your first 30 days are free. There's no risk. 30-day trial offer. What do you have to lose aside from your virginity? Go ahead and sign up. Did you like that? I think that should be your new slogan. What do you have to lose aside from your virginity? That might be a little that might be a little insulting to the audience, but you know what I mean. You could get lucky. No. TagMeADate.com. War Report. We're here every Tuesday on YouTube, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, you can catch replays on YouTube, archives of the show, and please, of course, register for TagMeADate.com.
All right, guys, the reviews are in, and TagMeADate.com is a huge success. Just don't take my word for it. Don't take people's reviews. Check it out for yourself. TagMeADate.com, our first ever online dating service for wrestling fans. Make wrestling night your date night.